I have t-shirts here that I would like to dye with some, leftover food scraps. And this is a great way to not only get like a cool shirt out of it or a cool fabric, but it's also a really good way to use food scraps. Like if you look at this strawberry here, I'm not eating that. I would just put that in my compost bin, but I can do something even cooler, more artistic, and I can create fabric dye. So like, if you've got wonky blueberries that you would throw out, you can turn stuff like this into fabric dye. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop up all of our gross leftovers. I'm starting to save some strawberry tops. I'm going to go through my bag of spinach. I have beets, the strawberries. You can also use things like turmeric or the skins of a yellow onion. And we're going to save those, and then we're going to create dye out of them to dye our shirts. Now we simmer them. So I'm going to put this on low heat. I have it at 4 right now, and I'm going to let it chill there for a while, for about an hour. Then I'm going to simmer it for another hour, and then I'm going to turn it off and let it sit at room temperature, let it cool down before I strain all of this good stuff out of there. And this stuff then I'm going to, once I strain it, I'm going to put that in the compost. Alright, so now that we have our liquid, we're going to find out how much of our fixative we need. So it's going to be a 1:4 ratio. So that's my liquid. It's about just over a cup. So we put that back in the pot. And now we are going to add our fixative. So 1:4 ratio, so I want just over a 1/4 cup. Okay. Add that in. Stir it. And I'm going to let it sit for another ½ hour before I add my fabric. Now that the vinegar liquid has set, I'm going to put it into a larger pot here, just because I now have to add the shirt. The shirt you are going to want to rinse with cold water, and that's going to help remove any gunk or any debris on it. And I just popped it while I was setting it to the side. I just popped it right in my measuring cup that I had here to soak up any extra color. I'm going to do the same just to get that extra color. And you can already see, even without it sitting in the liquid for a long time, that it's really, the color is sticking. The beet, strawberry, blueberry mix is really sticking very nicely. And now I'm going to pop it in. Ooh, pop it in here in the larger pot. Wow, look at that color change. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my goodness. Wow, look at how, oh my gosh, so beautiful. So now, if you want like a tie-dye sort of look, you can definitely like crumple bits up so that it doesn't get all saturated. But I would like a fairly saturated, fairly even colored shirt. That's my end goal. So in areas like you can see here, there's still some whites. I want to make sure that gets colored. I'm gonna keep rotating this until all of the white is gone. Again, you can make this however you like. I'm gonna let it sit for 3 hours. That's kind of the minimum. The longer you let it sit, the better the color will stay. Alright, so I've let it sit, and now we can wring out the extra juice. We're gonna rinse it. So we're gonna rinse with cold water. And remember, it's gonna get paler. And then we're gonna throw it in the dryer on low heat. Definitely came out paler than I thought it would, but from what I'm reading, that's just what beets do. So if you look, it's a very pale pink, which is fine. It still looks cool, and it looks really great with the gold ink. And I used, for the printing, I used Speedball fabric ink in metallic gold. But what I read about the beet is that beet is a stain instead of a dye. So it doesn't have the tannins that are the natural mordant to bind the color to the fabric. So it's gonna wash out and it's gonna fade over time, and that's totally okay with me. That's kind of what this is for, right? Is to test and play around and see what happens